This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Matt Allen. Finally made it back after a couple weeks hiatus. Glad to be back with my buddy here, Dave Riccio. And once again...
Former buddy.
Oh, yeah, we're not friends anymore. Not until after the show. We'll see how things go. But no matter if I'm here or Dave's gone and I'm here or whatever. I just said that backwards. Same thing over. Anyway, point is, we're here for you, one of us, every Saturday at 11 for your KTAR car guys. So if you have a question about your car, you know, this show is about you getting involved. We always have a topic we're going to talk about. We want to teach you something and educate you. But most importantly, if you have a question about your car, maybe you had an experience at a shop this week, or maybe somebody gave you a price on something and you're not sure if the price is right or the price is wrong, or, you know what, the highest price is the price of a repair that you don't need. So any questions, 602-277-5827. It's 602-277-KTAR. And you can text us at 411-923. And you can always find the show at bumpertobumperradio.com. We're on Facebook. You can search and find us there, and we're here for you. So, Dave, the phone rings at the shop all day. I mean, it's off the hook. You know, half the time it's the credit card processors, and half the time it's like there's a ghost. I think there's robots calling to find out if there's somebody answering the phone so that then somebody else can call and sell you something. But then there's the other question, the biggest question we get, and we answer the phone, Virginia Auto Service or Tri-City Transmission or Bumper to Bumper Radio, and you say, how may I help you? And the question is,
how much should it cost to fix my car? How much for a water pump? How much for a mass airflow sensor? How much for a transmission? How much to fix that leak? How much? Yeah, how much to fix the leak? How much to fix that noise? What do you think? That is the question that we literally get. If our phone rings 90 times in a day, I mean, you know, that's reasonable for a busy auto repair shop. You know, 20 of them are solicitors. Hey, we would like to do your credit card processing. We're going to save you a bunch of money. I say, that's funny because the last guy told me the same thing, too.
You know how many calls I get for Viagra? Oh, my gosh.
You know, I never get those. I don't know why.
It's off the hook, the
but
pharmacies.
All day long, solicitors call, but at the same time, that how much question comes up over and over and over again. And I always tell people the most expensive repair is the one you don't need. And you mentioned that earlier. And so for transmission, for me, in my business, people say, well, how much for a transmission for my car? Well, you know what? You know how many cars come in where people, that was their first question when they called us, and when they left, they never got a transmission?
Because they didn't need one.
Because they didn't need a transmission.
So you're shopping, and it goes a couple ways. So you're shopping for something that you don't really need. And I think in the transmission world, this is even a bigger problem than, say, the auto repair world. But there's a lot of transmission shops. If you go in and you say, I need how much for a transmission, they say, you know, $3,000, and you say, okay, you're getting one.
Whether you need it or not.
You're getting one. I mean, but Dave, your shop, someone shows up, asks for a price on a transmission. It's a little bit different. You're going to talk to them and say, let's not talk about the transmission. It's $78 or it's $100. We need to check it out, and let's find out what you need. And a lot of times people are afraid to pay for diagnosis. But that's really what we need to find out. We have to find out what's wrong with the car first.
I had a car in my shop 2 weeks ago, Subaru. The guy had left another shop, and he had a quote on a transmission for $6,500. Well, we ran through it.
Let me back up. Was $6,500 too much for that transmission, or was that about the right price?
It was appropriate.
So it was about the right price, and he needed one.
No. Well, he did need one. He did need one. Yeah. So we went ahead. We brought it in. We verified diagnosis and everything. And through our diagnostic process, our technician stumbled on some information about a warranty extension for that car for that exact problem that he diagnosed. And he's like looking at it, he's like, boy, this car is just out of this warranty extension. So we called up to the Subaru dealership. We said, hey, this guy's pretty close. Do you think you could squeeze him in? He said, yes, we will. So basically, we called the customer up. We said, we got some good news and we got some bad news. The bad news is your transmission's hosed. The good news is we're getting it warranted for you. So $6,500 he would have saved. But if he was just calling around, how much for a transmission, how much for a transmission, how much for a transmission, he finally got the best price, he would have gone there. But he didn't need one. He didn't do that. He said, let's diagnose it. Let's see what's wrong with it. So sometimes, most of the time, that's the beneficial way to go. Yeah. You mentioned the guy that came in and wanted a price on a mass airflow sensor the other day.
Yeah, I had a guy, and we take these phone calls, and we really want to, just like during the show, we want to sometimes I call it convert you. Some people are price shoppers, and a lot of people are shopping for price just because that's the easiest question to ask. In some ways, it's a great conversation starter because what else do you ask? Mm-hmm. I mean, the question should be, I'd really like to make an appointment to drop off my car and have it diagnosed and find out what's wrong. How much is that? Mm-hmm. But this gentleman has a Ford Ranger, a great little truck, and he's calling around, wants a price on a mass airflow sensor. Well, usually when people call for a price, they've either been told something by somebody else. Half the time the car's in another shop, mm-hmm. and half the time, they had a check engine light on and they went and had a code checked or something like that. Mm-hmm. So this gentleman wanted a price on a mass airflow sensor. And I said, well, why do you think you need it? You can tell, and we know what questions to ask. Well, I went to the place and they checked the code, and it has a 175, a rich condition, and one of the possibilities is the mass airflow sensor. Doesn't sound like it. We should really diagnose it. So we actually go through the diagnosis. The diagnosis was about the same price as what a mass airflow sensor would have cost mm-hmm. for a kind of a cheaper rebuilt one. We didn't need a mass airflow sensor. He had a bad fuel pressure regulator. I could tell that just by the code. We knew it wasn't a mass airflow sensor. Right.
Because that one was rich on one bank.
It was rich on one bank, and so it happened. He had fuel entering the engine, making both banks of the engine rich, but it was only setting a code for one side of the engine. And just a little bit of knowledge, we knew it wasn't a mass airflow sensor, but it could have been a number of different things. So that guy, even at my shop, now we don't do it, but if he would have just called up and said, I want a mass airflow sensor, and he went in, put it in, parts and labor, $175, whatever, that's more money than the diagnosis was to find out that he didn't need it. So if he put that part on, he would have had to pay for the diagnosis, had a part he didn't need, and still has to fix the car.
Well, so what we're saying is you can be your own worst enemy on this price topic. You want to make sure you're working with a good shop that's reputable, that's been around, that cares about their reputation, that's important to them. I mean, that's a really important thing. And the other thing that people ask, they say, what's your hourly rate? And they're trying, and I understand, they're trying to find out, how do you compare to the next guy and what's your hourly rate so I can make a decision if I want to go to you or to the next guy. If you're making a decision between shop A and shop B on hourly rate, let me tell you something. Like in my neighborhood, I believe the average is about $120 an hour, okay, for hourly rate. So if one shop's $115 and the next shop's $125, all right, and you pick the shop that's $115, on a 2-hour job, it's going to save you $20. And that's the average auto repair ticket is 2 hours.
Yeah, it's like I was going to say 2.5 hours. So you're talking about $25.
Right.
Don't let $25. Hey, let's talk about a 10-hour job. If you have a 10-hour job, that's going to be a $2,000 or $3,000 job in 10 hours because the parts and the labor are kind of close. Mm-hmm. So let's just take that big spread. So now you got a $10 an hour difference in labor price. Heck, I don't care. Make it $15 an hour. You're going to let $150 be the decision point on a $2,000 repair. Not the wisest thing when you look in the grand scheme of things.
Here's the deal: especially on major repairs, if you're doing a major repair, you don't want to spend $2,000 on it. Okay, not the first time. You don't want to spend $2,000 on it the second time. In some of these major repairs that I see, where they ended up going to the shop because it was the cheapest. The only reason that shop was the cheapest because they cut a lot of corners. Okay, you're going to go and you're going to take you're going to make this investment in your car, and you're going to do it wrong. You can ruin a car.
Yeah, you can, and I want to tell you something. I've got some reviews on. I had a customer give me some feedback the other day. I did my due diligence. You guys said I needed brakes, and I did, but I got them done for only $250. So I went back. I take this stuff serious. I go back. I look at the notes. Well, whoever did the brakes for this gentleman, he didn't save any money. He just spent less because he needed brake rotors. He was 0.5 millimeter away from needing to throw the brake rotors away. So what the other shop did, they didn't bother to measure the rotors. or they just machined them and put the new brake pads on, or they just did what we call pad slap. They didn't even treat the rotors or do anything. But the point is, he didn't get value for his money. He spent less money, but he didn't get a deal. So if there's, I'm going to say if there's about a 10% price difference, if there's much more than that, I'm going to say we're not making an apples-to-apples comparison. And the other thing that you can do as the consumer, if you're concerned about the price, ask the shop, what can we do to make this less expensive? Because I could give you an example of, there's different companies that make belts and water pumps and things, but let's talk about a timing belt component kit. Very reputable manufacturer out there, Continental. They make them for German cars. They're in Japanese. They're all over the place. Good product. Continental tires too. So, they have a kit for timing belt. Well, there's one that's one price, but now they have the Black Series. It's the same kit, but it has a less quality water pump and less quality bearings. So now if I price out that water pump kit, the premium one, and then you call the next shop and they're $200 less, but they're using the black kit with the lower priced bearings and the no-name brand water pump, you spent less money, but you didn't get a better deal. You might have saved $200. So we could have done that repair. So before you bail on the shop and say, oh, you guys are too expensive, ask for alternatives.
Yeah, is there a way to spend money?
Yeah.
Or save money. Save
money. But I'll tell you one place where you don't want to save money. Dave, take a guess.
Batteries. I'll tell you what, batteries. Some of these batteries that I see, these like roadside batteries that get installed, we've been doing, Matt, at our shop, we've been testing every battery that comes through the door, and we're literally logging it and putting it in a spreadsheet. And we're looking at all the brands and just seeing, how old they are, what the rating is, all that stuff. And we are seeing there's a tremendous difference. We see the same brands over and over and over again where the battery's only 6 months old, and it still doesn't pass the test. So anyhow, when it comes to batteries, we choose Interstate Battery. That's what we stock for our customers. You can find them coast to coast. They got a great warranty. So, especially with the road trips coming up for the summer, go down and get yourself an Interstate Battery. If you don't know where to get one, Bumper to Bumper shops carry them. We'll be right back.
Having an accident is stressful. Dealing with the repair process shouldn't be. Hi, Leo Petrozella for Campus Body Salon. The right to choose a repair facility is yours, not the insurance company's. We work with all insurance companies, but we work for you. Campus Body Salon, Bumper to Bumper Radio approved and independently family owned and operated since 1973. Check out our Cash for Your Crash program where we pay you 10% off of your repair up to $1,000. Campus Body Salon, the best care in collision repair.
There is nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock here for Kurt's Auto Repair. I brought my nephew and general manager, Jeff Rock, to help spread the word.
Thanks, Pops. Yep, the more things change, the more they stay the same at Kurt's. Family owned and operated, our ASE Master Techs and family ethics have earned us a Perfect Better Business Bureau record for over 30 years. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue in Bell or online at mycarhurts.com.
Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic, if your car hurts, take it to Kurt.
Get breaking news and your favorite KTAR news personalities on your time with the KTAR News app. Stream us live or get podcasts on demand. Download the KTAR News app for Android or iPhone now. Live streaming audio on the KTAR News app is presented by Sanderson Ford.
Well, you're back with Bumper to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen. It's good to see him. I was kind of wondering, if we still had a thing going on. I hadn't seen you so long.
Yeah, we still got our little thingy thing, Davey.
Well, we got a board full of calls. We got Dottie, we got Stephanie, we got Andrew, and we've got Kevin. And we're going to go with, looks like Rita in Glendale, 2005. Maybe a Dodge Caravan. How can we help you, Rita? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Okay, I hope I can explain this to you more or less, okay?
Okay.
On my car, you have something called the RPM, okay? And it has a handle, a little thing that goes up and down. And before the zero, it has a little thing that pops out. I believe it holds the hand in place. Where it doesn't let it go past the zero, okay? Well, that it's an orange color hand, okay? That hand is below that little thing, so it doesn't make the hand move. So the RPMs are not registered on my car at all.
Okay.
Nothing. I mean, I don't even know if my car is supposed to be doing that or not. I don't know how it got below that little stick, but it doesn't move at all.
Okay. Well,
is that going to affect my vehicle in the long run?
No, it won't, actually. And we'll talk about what that little handle and that stick and that stuff are. So what you're talking about, that's the tachometer of the car, and the RPMs are the revolutions per minute. So that's how many thousands of times per minute that engine is rotating. And there's a signal that comes from the computer or the ignition coil on an older car, and it tells the instrument cluster, the tachometer, where to go. Some cars don't even have a tachometer, so you don't need to necessarily worry about it. It might be a larger indication that the instrument cluster as a whole is failing or something. There's a little motor in there, and maybe it went past its preem. It didn't drop down. It went all the way around probably the clock and didn't come back. So not something critical, but you've got to.
It's an indicator, and we talked about last week about checking the gauges, getting people to watch the gauges. Kind of know something about your car, and you can kind of see the speed of the engine. If you look when you leave a stop, it's going to rev up, and it's going to drop back down because it's shifting. It's going to rev up again. It's going to drop back down. You can kind of see what's going on with the engine. So it just helps you know what's going on with the car. But, yeah, is it an immediate problem? No. You could live without it. Some people live without a gas gauge. You don't have to have a gas gauge if you just do the math and set your tripometer. But it's a good idea to have a gas gauge.
Hey, some people I know have a gas gauge and they still run out of gas, Dave.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That was a below the belt. I felt that.
Yeah, so good question, Rita. But that don't worry about it. Definitely not any stress in your life. And if there's no spare scratch around, I'm not making that repair.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for the call. 602-277-5827. Let's go with Kevin. He's got a 2006 Chevrolet Silverado. How can we help you, Kevin? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for taking my call. I just left the oil change place, and I generally use Lucas products, and I had them put Lucas transmission. The idea was to put Lucas transmission oil, of course, in the transmission, and then the Lucas motor oil. And I think they got this backwards. I think they put the Lucas Lucas transmission additive in the oil, and the motor additive, the Lucas motor oil additive, inside the transmission.
Why do you suspect that?
Well, because I was standing outside watching him, because I've had this truck for eons, bought it brand new, so I'm meticulous about it, almost to the point I'm anal. But I watched him as it just caught me by surprise. I noticed that how thick and golden the product was that was going down the transmission dipstick. He had poured it in there and had to wait, I don't know, maybe 5-6 seconds for it to drop down. Then after he got it all in there, he went to go check the transmission fluid level, and of course it hadn't dropped all the way down from the dipstick, and it had come out like syrup, etc. And I just asked myself, I've seen transmission additives before, and they didn't look golden for one thing. They almost looked the color of the transmission itself. And I've never seen transmission oil additive that thick. Is that going to be a problem?
Yeah, I think so. I would definitely go back to the oil change place and tell them, hey, here's what I think happened. And I wouldn't wait. If you got the wrong fluid in the wrong place, hey, we got to fix that. Let's get that transmission fluid. We got to change it all out. If in fact we put the engine in, and I'm not sure that happened, but let's find out for sure. And then maybe go, if you brought the Lucas additive to them, maybe go buy the product and look at, and see what happens.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, if you know for a fact that he was in fact putting that down the dipstick tube and it was golden honey, and then you go buy another, I'd go right to the parts store and go get another bottle of that Lucas transmission stuff and open it up.
See what it looks like.
And if it's not it for sure. But Dave, short of that, I don't know if you could tell, the old smell test. I don't think so. The only way, you'd have to really pull an oil sample and have somebody.
I'm tasting it. How much boron's in there? I taste the zinc, a little bit of polonium carbide in that oil.
But,
you know.
But it could be. I mean, it could cause a problem. So.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I would definitely deal with that. For sure. So as soon as you can. So let's go with Stephanie in Chandler. She's got a 1998 Honda CRV. How can we help you, Stephanie? You are on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Hey, we have replaced the O2 sensor on the Honda. We just cleaned the mass airflow sensor as well. We have spark. It cranks. There's fuel coming through, but nothing.
So what's the problem? The car doesn't start?
The car doesn't start.
Okay.
How are we checking that we have fuel coming through? How much fuel pressure do we have?
My husband was there. I was behind starting the car just to turn it on, just to hear the fuel pump, and he could tell because he does a lot of car repairs, and he's done all our vehicles all the time. So there was definitely plenty of fuel coming through. I'd heard you mention earlier, because I wasn't on the radio, you mentioned a fuel pressure regulator. Mm-hmm. Does that have anything to do with this situation possibly?
No, not likely. Totally different symptoms. So let's back up a little bit. What happened before the car wouldn't start? Were you driving along and the car stalled and shut off? Or did you park the car and then come out and it wouldn't start?
Right, it was. And it had been sitting for a while, so we replaced the battery, put a new battery in.
Hold on a second. So how long had the car been sitting?
Not long, actually. Not long at all.
I mean, like a month, or was it unregistered, or just been?
Oh, no, a month.
Oh, okay.
A month or so. It hadn't been, sitting. But again, we put the new battery in, we charged it. He checks everything. He had read online maybe replacing the O2 sensor, which it had been. That was one thing we hadn't done in the past.
Right.
Well, we're coming up on break here, Stephanie. So we're going to throw you on hold. We'll continue to talk about your car here.
Yeah, but it there's a lot of things. So this, again, you need to diagnose, but you have to have fuel pressure. But not only do you have to have fuel pressure, which some people might check by cracking a line open and see what happens, which is dangerous, by the way. You have to have pulse going to the fuel injector itself so it can allow that fuel pressure to enter the engine. And you've got to have spark, and you've got to have air, and all of those things have to be delivered on time, and then the engine will run.
Anyhow, when we come back, we'll touch on that a little bit more and taking phone calls at 602-277-5827. You listen to Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Honesty and integrity. It's the only option. Hi, Spencer Doucet for H&I Automotive. H is for honesty, and I is for integrity. We built our business on these two principles. We opened our first shop in Mesa in 2009, and with the support from our loyal customers, we've now grown to a second state-of-the-art location in Gilbert. 2 locations, same principles. Quality service at a great value, backed by an industry-leading 60-month, 60,000-mile parts and labor warranty. Check us out at HNIautomotive.com.
It's back. The 7th annual Bunker to Bunker Memorial Day Stay and Play Golf Tournament benefiting Phoenix Children's Hospital is Saturday, May 26th at the historic Wigwam Resort. Our 2-person scramble on the world-renowned Gold Course is loaded with special prizes, awards, and lunch, and it even includes a free coupon for a second round of golf, all for just $90. Better yet, stay the weekend with room night specials starting at just $139 per night. Come make your Memorial Day weekend memorable. Space is limited. Register today at bunkergolf.com.
Hi, I'm Dave Riccio, owner of Tri-City Transmission. Well, you may have come to know us for being a transmission expert. What you may not know is that our customers regularly ask us why we don't perform repairs to the rest of the vehicle. You guys are so great. Why work on just the transmission? Well, the request became hard to ignore, and 3 years ago, we began to build an infrastructure to perform general automotive repair. We weren't going to do general repair if we couldn't be great at it. So in 2013, we began the soft opening of Tri-City Auto Repair on Smith Road. We brought on ASE Master Technicians to work side by side with our Master Transmission Technicians. The combination of the best in both of these trades has created a synergy that allows us not only to fix your transmission, but to service and repair your whole car, and to do it well. Let's face it, the modern car has become so integrated. We believe all of our expert knowledge puts us ahead of the curve. Find us at TriCityTransmission.com or TempeAutoRepairShop.com. That's TempeAutoRepairShop.com.
Arizona's news station. KTAR. On air, 92.3 FM. Online at KTAR.com. And streaming live on the KTAR News app. Your breaking news and traffic now.
KTAR News Time, 11:30. I'm Mark Carlson. Even as people along the Texas coast are coming to grips with the school shooting in Santa Fe, another disaster has struck. A plant explosion and fire has injured 22 people in Pasadena, Texas.
The Carrari eval plant in Pasadena, southeast of Houston, produces plastics used to make food packaging and other products. The company says there was an explosion at the facility late this morning. The Pasadena fire marshal describes it as a flash fire with no active flames now.
ABC's Jim Ryan in Texas City. New activity at Hawaii's Kilauea volcano.
This river of lava is flowing from it very quickly. The same thing from some of the other fissures. It's actually closed off a roadway and blocked off access to where about 40 homes are. Because of that, several people had to be evacuated overnight by air, and the National Guard is warning even more evacuations could be ordered because the concern isn't just with new fissures opening. It's some of the older ones that had stopped flowing. They've now opened up again, and that's posing a threat.
That's ABC's Marcy Gonzalez. Traffic and weather now. Here's Mike Daniels in the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center.
Well, thank you, Mark. In Glendale, injury accident involving a bicycle on Camelback Road and 78th Avenue. And we've got a crash on Bell Road and 30th Street to watch out for. This report brought to you by Carol Royce, the real estate team. Need to sell your home fast? Carol Royce with Keller Williams Realty East Valley will make you a guaranteed cash offer on your home within 24 hours. Call Carol now at 480-776-5231 and get packing. I'm Mike Daniels, KTAR News.
Thank you, Mike. KTAR weather for the Valley. Today, sunny skies with a high of 96. Tonight, clear skies and a low of 70. Tomorrow, sunny and a high of 97. It is 87 degrees currently in Peoria. Weather brought to you by Howard Air. Whether replace or repair, call Howard Air. I'm Mark Carlson on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
It's back. The 7th annual Bunker to Bunker Memorial Day Stay and Play Golf Tournament benefiting Phoenix Children's Hospital is Saturday, May 26th at the historic Wigwam Resort. Our two-person scramble on the world-renowned Gold Course is loaded with special prizes, awards, and lunch, and it even includes a free coupon for a second round of golf, all for just $90. Better yet, stay the weekend with room night specials starting at just $139 per night. Come make your Memorial Day weekend memorable. Space is limited. Register today at bunkergolf.com.
Ouch! Being out of tune is no fun, and maybe even a little painful. Hi, this is Lee Weatherby, owner of Accurate Automotive in Mesa. At Accurate, we are a family-owned and operated one-stop automotive repair shop that specializes in building long-term relationships that are in tune with your needs, not ours. We've been recognized nationally as one of the top shops in the country, but for over 20 years, our priority has stayed focused on providing quality automotive service and repair at a fair price. I invite you to come in and see the difference an in-tune relationship can make for you and your car. With our free courtesy inspection, a $49 value, we feel it is well worth our investment in you because we believe good long-term relationships start early with your first walk through our doors. Accurate Automotive, home of friends serving friends, just off Broadway and Robson in Mesa since 1992. For more information, check us out online at accurateautomotiveaz.com today.
Fix it or forget it. This is the show that'll help you decide what to do with your car. Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen. And for those of you who have never heard the show before, let me tell you what Bumper to Bumper Radio is all about. It's all about putting you in the know and creating a comfort for you when it comes to auto repair and taking care of your car, and what are some norms. If you don't know what normal is, it's going to feel, oh, really? That's what they want? Today we talked about how much, and the how much question that comes up all the time. So the show's about that. Also, there is a list of shops that sponsor this show at bumpertobumperradio.com. These are shops that Matt and I would carte blanche say, go over there, man, they'll take great care of you. We were just talking to Stephanie on the 98 CRV. If this gets to be something where they don't want to fix it there in Chandler, they can head on right on down to Automotive Diagnostic Specialties. They're right there. They're a great shop. One that I wanted to mention today that I always hear good things about in Kurt's Auto Repair up off of Bell Road.
Yeah.
Fantastic shop. If you guys are up anywhere in the Northwest Valley, Kurt's Auto Repair, and you don't have a shop, if you got a shop, stay there by all means. If you don't, go to bumpertobumperradio.com. You'll find Kurt's Auto Repair on there. That is a truly family-owned business. It's funny. People go in there for the first time, and Kurt's wife will show up at their door the next day and, thank him for business. Bring him some brownies and all that stuff. So family-run business. Everyone there is there to take care of you, and those people really take pride in what they do. So they're just one of the great shops you'll find at bumpertobumperradio.com. And going back to Stephanie's phone call, Matt, we hear things earlier. We talked about the mass airflow sensor for a rich code on one bank, and you and I said, well, mass airflow sensor don't care which bank it's going to.
Yeah, it doesn't discriminate.
Doesn't really discriminate. So we wouldn't have started there for that code. And Stephanie mentioned, well, we put an O2 sensor on the CRV. O2 sensors never keep cars from running. There's a couple off-the-wall cases where maybe an O2 sensor shorted and it's caused an issue with the computer or something like that. But for the most part, 99 times out of 100 is not going to keep a car from starting. So you said air, you said fuel, and you said spark, and then you said it's all got to happen on time. So injector pulse, they could be missing injector pulse because we got a crank sensor issue. Some of this stuff without the tools, Stephanie, is going to be really hard to diagnose. I mean, we may throw a scope on a crank sensor to see if it's working.
Yeah, well, in the Hondas, it says you have spark, but where are you checking the spark?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you check the spark at the spark plug wire disconnected. We have a spark tester we put on there, and it will have spark. Or it won't have spark. And then you go pull the distributor cap off and check it at the coil, and you've got spark at the coil. So that tells us that our cap and rotor or plug wires, it used to be the cap and rotor all the time in those Hondas that were bad. So you've got to know what to check and where to check it. It's got to have compression. So, maybe I would think if he's in tune with, an engine and is mechanically inclined, you would be able to hear the difference in the way the engine cranks over if it had a timing belt problem or a chain issue or something like that. But again, I can't give you one tip that you need to check. But again, he said fuel, plenty of it was coming out, but we don't know if there's fuel pulse. So that would be my next.
And even enough
test.
Pressure, fuel injected car below the spec won't start.
Yeah, 25 pounds looks like a lot of pressure, but can you really tell? I mean, can you tell the difference between 25 pounds and 35 pounds visually by a flow? Because we're not measuring flow, although flow volume is important. We're measuring pressure, and you don't see pressure by having it run out the end of a gas line.
Well, Stephanie, I wish we would have had more silver bullets for you so you guys could get your Honda running and back on the road. But if you do need a shop and you don't have one, bumpertobumperradio.com, and let's go with Andrew in Wickenburg. He's been waiting for a while.
He
there.
has. And before I click this button, Stephanie, call us back when you fix it and let us know, please. We really are interested to know what the final fix is. So, Andrew, you got a Nissan Xterra. What's going on?
Yes, I do. I also have 245,000 miles, and it's an 03. So I drive a lot. My question mainly is that I had a dummy light basically saying a catalytic converter and an aux sensor. And what I have done since then, and this was over a year ago, is I actually did pay to get a diagnostic done, but it was by a guy who has certifications, he's a mobile mechanic, and said, yes, it's a catalytic converter. He believes that's what it is. I got no power loss. I've never had a power loss. I have no oil loss. And within the last 4 months now, I've changed it to the octane. The dummy light doesn't come on anymore. So I'm curious what this is because I do diagnosis in my field for a living, and it doesn't make sense.
Well, it's the two are probably unrelated. Any 03 Xterra that you scan, and I would say 99 out of 100 of them are going to have that knock sensor code in there. I don't know why that is. And the knock sensor on that Nissan won't set the check engine light, but I know I've seen it on a lot of them, and pretty common deal. But not related to the catalytic converter issue. So the catalytic converter is basically it's a filter of sorts for your exhaust going out the tailpipe. Before the filter, there's a sensor, oxygen sensor, air-fuel ratio sensor, and then after the catalytic converter, there's a sensor there also. And what the computer is seeing is it's not seeing enough difference between before the filter and after the filter, so it's saying, CAT efficiency code is typical on a vehicle. You start to get up in the miles like that. It's not untypical. So when we graph it, we can graph that incoming O2 sensor, and we can graph that outgoing O2 sensor, and one will be up and down, and the one on the other side will be kind of rounded off edges. They just look different graphically. So that's what's going on with it.
But he said something a little different. Let's tell everybody what knock sensor is. The knock sensor listens for detonation in the engine, and when it hears it, it tells the computer, hey, it's pinging down here. There's engine detonation. Retard the timing. What causes that pinging, it's called pre-ignition. Pre-ignition also causes NOx, N-O-X, nitrates of oxygen. Oh boy, I screwed that one up. Anyway,
he didn't pass
NOx,
chemistry.
Nitrates of oxygen. So that's created. Well, that will kill the catalytic converter, those gases. So I think what's happening, he has put premium fuel in there. It's not pinging it anymore. Therefore, the converter is not having to work as hard to clean that up. So he might.
I know where you went down that road, but I know for a fact, I mean, these Nissans, whether there's a problem with that knock sensor or knocking or pinging or anything like that, that code's in all of them.
They set the code a lot. But what changed the code or the light from coming on and off is the premium fuel. So you might run, Andrew, some Techron through that. Go to a Chevron gas station or find the shop up there in Wickenburg that sells BG products and run some of their 44K cleaner through the fuel tank. And that might allow you to clean the fuel system up, or go to a shop and have it professionally done, but that might allow you to clean the system up and go back to using the fuel that belongs in the car. Because, again, if your car only takes 87 octane in, putting 91 octane in it can actually make the fuel mileage and stuff go backwards. It could be less efficient, but it's solving his problem in this case.
Thanks so much for the call, Andrew. We are going to go with Dottie in Casa Grande. She's got a 2008 PT Cruiser. How can we help you, Dottie? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yes, I've got it's a OA PT Cruiser. It's got less than 140,000 miles on it. Not had no problem. And the other day I was driving home from town, and it just started jumping like if somebody's going to push you when they first bump into your bumper. And it done that all the way home. And there's a little light that come on the instrument panel that looked like a motor. And when I looked in the book, it said it's bad.
Is it a yellow light?
The light is just it's just a picture, looks like a motor.
Okay. All right. Well, it's telling you, I don't know. Is it when you're slowing down it feels like somebody bumped you from behind?
No, I was just driving along, and all of a sudden it just started just bouncing.
Okay. Does it do it? Have you driven it since?
No, I drove it home and put it in the garage, and when I went out to check and see how it was, the light was on again, and so I just left it alone.
Okay. Well, it's gonna need to get it in and get diagnosed, and more than likely that's the check engine light that you're referring to, and basically the computer is seeing a problem. So something is wrong that is not allowing that car to work right. Now, one of the things that happens on these Chrysler products, and I don't know if this is related to the transmission, but sometimes the transmission will go into a fail-safe mode. The check engine light comes on, and it'll give you a really abrupt shift. And the reason I asked if you've driven it since is sometimes you go get back in the car and everything drives okay again, until the computer recognizes the error. So that's, it might be worth the trip around the block just to see if that's still going on. But it is gonna need to be diagnosed as far as what's happening there. And 140,000 miles it's some miles. It's not a spring chicken. It needs it. it's getting to that point where it might need a repair.
Dave, I just can't think of the name of the shop. And if you go to Bumper Radio, we have a lot of several shops throughout the Valley metropolitan area that we recommend people to go to. And Dottie, I don't know we don't have a shop in Casa Grande, but Dave, isn't there the ASA guy Lee out there? I don't know. I forget the name of the shop.
Put me on the spot.
I'm just drawing a blank. Do that. But Dottie, if you don't have a shop to go to, maybe just send us an email at Bumper to Bumper Radio, and we'll try to find you somebody that we feel confident referring you to in Casa Grande, because we don't currently have anybody on the list. Hey, and if you own a shop in Casa Grande, and you want to be part of this network, or if you own a shop anywhere in the Valley, and you think you can cut the mustard,
yeah, go to bumper2bumperradio.com, and you would absolutely check into it, and you go from there. So anyhow, when we come back, we got a couple more phone calls. We got David, Scott, and maybe time for one more at 602-277-5827. You listen to Bumper Radio.
Hi, I'm Kurt Morgan, owner of Shadow Mountain Auto Service in Phoenix. I'm also a college automotive instructor, and I've been a technician for over 30 years. In that time, I've seen all kinds of games and gimmicks in the auto repair business, the worst of which seems to be associated with transmissions. I think it's because, to most, including technicians, the inside of a transmission is a mystery. So when one of our valued customers has a transmission problem, we send them straight to Tri-City Transmission. No games, no gimmicks. That's Tri-City Transmission.
Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
That's our closing line, Pops.
I know, Jeff. Just reinforcing that we're full-service auto repair.
At Kurt's Auto Repair, we do it all, including diesel. We have the passion, training, equipment, and expertise for diesel. Our techs are ASE certified for diesel and advanced diesel diagnostics. Toy hauling, horse trailering, off-roading, or work trucking, we've got you covered.
Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's. Check us out at mycarhurts.com.
Hi, Kevin Rowe from I-17 Collision in Phoenix. If the bad news is you've had an accident, the good news is that with one easy click on bumper2bumperradio.com, you have the best collision, body, and paint shops to help you get back on the road quickly, safely, and with a repair you can trust.
Dave Lindgren here from First Class Auto Body in Scottsdale. Don't be fooled. Some insurance companies try to convince you that you must use their approved shops for your repairs. Not true. Arizona law allows you to choose the facility that's right for you.
And I'm Leo Petrozella from Campus Body Salon in Tempe. Having an accident is stressful enough. Dealing with the repair process shouldn't be. Appearance is important, but it's critical that structural integrity and safety are top priority.
3 convenient locations and one united team. With almost 120 years of experience and expertise between us, we are solely focused on taking care of you while working with your insurance company. The Collision team at bumper2bumperradio.com.
We gotta cut up to you. Yeah. Everybody get your roll on. I know shorty and she doesn't want no slow song. Had a man last.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I'm Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and we're helping you with your car.
I'm not so sure I'm endorsing this music choice. You called Gary old, Dave. So you want some,
something a little more modern, huh?
Yeah, well,
for sure. Hey, I want to mention H&I Automotive, who was on with us last week. They got a couple locations, Mesa and Gilbert. They're doing some sort of fundraiser out there for Red Nose. They call it Red Nose Day, which is a fundraiser for children, and they give you $10 off, and then they take $10 and they give that to the Red Nose thing.
To Rudolph?
Reindeer, right?
I thought that was Christmas. Yeah. No, Red Nose Day, it's a fundraiser to help children all over the world. Poverty, I mean, all children's fun. So if you happen to be at H&I or you're looking for a shop out there in the Mesa area and you want to save $10 and feel good about it,
go on to H&I Automotive for sure.
I think you get to put this goofy clown nose on and take a picture. That's part of the deal. So there's something fun behind it.
Hey, Matt, I want to hit a text real quick. This text says, 05 RAV4, all-wheel drive, cruising 70 miles per hour. I would feel like the car was slightly jerking, but on at speeds above 65 miles per hour. It's kind of a little bit, just what's happening in the car at 70 miles an hour?
It's just cruising.
Just cruising along.
Might have a little misfire,
a little glitchy, a little misfire.
A little torque converter coming in and out, maybe. It'd be
possibly.
You'd have a bigger RPM shift.
Yeah, sometimes, something can be glitching, but at 70 miles per hour, most everything is done, but I think of a misfire if, I'm at cruising speed and I get a little glitch.
Yeah, RPMs are a little low, engine gets a little loaded maybe.
Off of a 17-word text, that's the best guess I can give you.
Yes.
So anyway, good luck with that. Let's go with David in Gilbert, 2009 Honda Civic. How can we help you, David? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, thanks, guys, for taking my call. Simple question. So I have a 2009 Honda Civic. The air conditioning works great when I'm driving, but anytime I'm at a stoplight or I fire up the car and it's not moving, it's completely warm.
Well, when I'm thinking of air condition not working so good with not movement, I'm thinking possibly a fan problem. There's condenser fans that cool up in the front of the car, and so when you're not moving, the fans do that job. When you're going down the road, the wind blowing through the grill does the job. So we may have a cooling fan. That would be my quick guess on that thing.
David, how is the temperature gauge acting when you're not using the air conditioner lately? Does it seem to be running in the normal range?
It does, yeah. It doesn't really move at all.
Are you fairly mechanically inclined?
Not so much.
Not so much. Okay. Well,
either are we, so we're in good company.
Good company. Well, I'll just explain what Dave was saying, and here's what I would do, and you could do it to, give a simple diagnosis, and you don't have to be all that, you don't have to be a gearhead. But in the front of your Civic, if you open the hood and you're standing there and you just look straight down, you're going to see the radiator cap. It's just a round cap with a couple little dimples on each side. But then if you bend over and look a little further, and then you're looking over towards the front of the engine, towards the front of the car, you're going to see probably 2 radiator fans right there. And if you start the car up, leave it idling in drive with the parking brake on, you turn the air conditioner on, both of those fans should be running. And if they're both not moving, or one of them is not moving, then the fan's not working. You could take a screwdriver, a small hammer, a stick, sometimes I've done it, and just give those fans, not the blade, just the back of the motor, just give it a little tap.
The old Fonzarelli, you just hit the jukebox, boop, hit the old Fonzarelli.
Yeah, the Fonzarelli touch, and those chances are those fans might just fire right up. And if they do, you just diagnose the car and you need a couple fan motors. Now, it's not always that easy.
Sometimes those are two high speed, low speed fans. I mean, things are getting a little more complicated in the old days. But so we could be missing our high speed if we need the high speed.
And people, I can hear it right now. You charge $145 to diagnose that, and all you did was whack it? Well, no.
Oh no, because we got to scope that motor, check the RPM.
Well, we don't really, but the point is, we might tell you $145 to diagnose it because we haven't been under the hood. But the second I go out there and I do that and I whack it, I'm calling you up and I'm saying, hey, Dave, good news. You need some cooling fan motors. That diagnosis that you were expecting to pay,
don't worry about it.
We don't have to do it. So we talked about diagnosis earlier in the show. We give you a price. Sometimes at my shop, we tell you it's going to be $160 to $250. We don't know. A lot of times we call up and say, no big, so don't get scared of diagnosis.
Right. We just got to be up front with you. If it's the old Fonzarelli test, chances are.
We're going to tell you, yeah.
For sure. So thanks for the call, David. Hope that helps. We're going to go with Scott in Phoenix. He's got a 2008 Volkswagen Turag. Turag. Did we get that right?
Hi. That's a Turag.
Turag.
Yeah. So when I'm driving, getting on the freeway and I go up the on-ramp, sometimes I'll kick it down to get up to speed, and my transmission will slip out of gear and it will go into high RPMs. And then I immediately let off the gas. And sometimes if the engine gets to a level point, sometimes it doesn't get to a level point and it slams back into gear. And sometimes I'm on the freeway and I have it on cruise. If it wants to gear down to pass or to go up a little small hill, sometimes it'll fall out of gear and do the same thing, and I immediately try to get off the gas so that it'll find its even course and it'll smoothly kick back into gear. But I'm very concerned. They're sealed transmissions, so I can't check the fluids, and help me out.
Yeah, they're not really sealed transmissions. I mean, they're sealed to the average consumer. That's the way.
Okay.
I mean, we can check the fluid on it, certainly, and they're not sealed, and they are designed to be serviced. But they don't.
About 2 years ago, I had the fluids all changed.
Okay.
At a Volkswagen dealership, but it's still continuing.
And that's a good idea. How much does the RPM jump up? Does it jump up 200 RPM or 3,000 RPM?
Yeah, probably 2,000.
Probably 2,000 RPM. Okay. So a transmission is controlled by sensors. The two main sensors that play into it are going to be the throttle position sensor and then the vehicle speed sensors. And the computer is going to tell that transmission how and when to shift and what gear to be in and all those things. You can have a sensor going offline that'll drop it out of gear, and that's quite possible. So when we're looking at transmissions, we're coming to it. We're trying to decide whether we have a transmission, like a mechanical problem, or we got a transmission control problem, like one of the sensors that helps control that transmission. So all that comes into play, and that's why I say people call me, how much? We don't know what's wrong with it yet, and this is going to need to be diagnosed. Some shops don't know how to take and fix transmissions or fix that kind of thing, so they just replace them, But it really is worth getting a good diagnostic on it where somebody's going to figure out what the heck's going on. And there's a whole bunch of questions and things. If it was coming to my shop, we'd jump in the car with you, have you drive it, and show us what you're feeling so that we would know what you're experiencing and which path to go on. So, but it doesn't sound like a difficult problem as far as if it's consistent. The real intermittent ones get a little bit hard, like it happens once every 2 weeks. We got to have the car for 2 weeks. So anyway, good luck with that. If you need a good shop, bumper-to-bumperradio.com. And, Matt, we got time for one more?
I think we're going to squeeze in Jose in Avondale with the 2004 Beamer. Jose, how can we help you?
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for having me. I have an 04 BMW 325i, 230,000 miles on it already. Changed out most of the cooling components on it, the radiator, clutch fan, hoses, sensors, thermostat, and it's still overheating.
What model was this again?
It's the 325i.
325i, so it's got the 4-cylinder engine. The car started overheating. Well, do your electronic cooling fans work? Are they coming on?
Yes, the fans are working.
Does it only overheat when you drive it as opposed to sitting at idle?
So normal driving, get up there, cruising speeds and highway speeds, it's fine. Come to a stop at a stoplight or stop sign, then I start seeing that needle start creeping up.
Well, I mean, again, we have to look at the totality of the whole cooling system. Water's got to be flowing. It's got to be pumping through the system. Based on what I thought I heard you say you replaced, I guess probably what I would be doing first before I did anything else, I want to make sure the integrity of that engine is good, and I'm going to do a block test. Block test is where we take a special chemical and we ingest air off the top of the radiator and we run it through this chemical. If there's exhaust in there, it will turn the chemical yellow, which means you have a blown head gasket. You might be able to buy that kit at the store. They're kind of expensive. You might be able to go to a shop to have it done. Maybe even auto parts store. Maybe even rents that test tool if you buy the fluid. So that's where I'd be looking at.
A lot of good calls today, and remember, when it comes to pricing and how much should it cost to fix my car, the main things are ask questions and make sure you're working with a good, reputable shop. And just because you got something for less money doesn't mean you got a better deal. I tell people sometimes you can spend $10 and get $9 worth of stuff, or you can spend $6 and get $2 worth of stuff. So really make sure you're getting a good, thorough job. Anyhow, bumper-to-bumperradio.com if you're looking for a great repair shop. We'll see you next week.